It would seem as if the universe just decided to drop one into my lap, because the last 3 videos that I made all touched on issues which now tie together with the latest internet drama of the moment. The first of those videos was about how feminism seems to be becoming the new hot topic for everyone to argue over. The second was about how conversations polarize online. And the third and most recent was about how internet drama can be taken to extremes. With that, enter Donglegate. The short version of this drama is that a woman at an event called PyCon attempted to publicly shame 2 men she felt were making inappropriate jokes at the conference by posting a picture of them on Twitter with remarks about the comments they were making. In the aftermath of this, one of the men was fired, the woman who posted the picture was fired, and an internet backlash ensued, with the usual harassment, doc dropping, and hacking. In addition to this, there were also people lining up to take sides in order to denounce the side they were against. Now I have 2 different but related angles on this subject. The first and most obvious is the reaction. The second and slightly less obvious has to do with the cultural impact of technology. And I find that it's the latter of those 2 that has been occupying me more over the past several years as I become somewhat preoccupied with the issue of the impact of technology and science fiction, which is really a genre that has built itself primarily on exploring the social impact of technology. I'll start by addressing the reaction. I think that part of the reaction is a general backlash against political correctness. And to be perfectly honest, I have my own certain distaste for political correctness. For example, I have seen people use the concept of privilege as the basis for what is called an ad hominem circumstantial argument. An ad hominem circumstantial is when you attempt to use some aspect of a person to discredit their argument by claiming that they have some sort of personal interest which negates their argument. So saying things like, well, I don't have to listen to you because you're a white male, or you're only saying that because of your blank privilege. That doesn't really fly. A fallacy is a fallacy whether or not somebody has privilege. Nonetheless, I cannot help but note some of the hypocrisy of this situation. You have people publicly shaming someone for publicly shaming people. Self-defeat follows. Another hypocritical reaction was to scold the woman about how nagging is not an effective method of social change, as if scolding someone is a world-changing form of communication. I bet if we just scold these nagging, politically correct people hard enough, they'll shut up. What this reminded me of is an incident that I once witnessed outside of a bar. A woman was nagging what appeared to be her boyfriend, and the boyfriend snapped back at her, "Shut up!" Now, this incident does not speak very well of the two's relationship. When one person is nagging and the other person decides to respond with verbal abuse, we would describe this as a dysfunctional relationship. And yet, in the warped world of internet logic, this is what is seen as appropriate behavior. The internet creates a pseudo-social reality in which people act towards each other in ways that they would never act in real life. It's much easier to insult someone from the safety of your own computer. Also, the claim that she was attempting to incite mob justice by tweeting to 10,000 followers comes off as rather audacious from someone when they have 170,000 plus subscribers, especially in a video in which every attempt is made to demonize her, including bringing in her religious beliefs to appeal to the anti-religious sentiment of the audience. What is that exactly? It's speaking truth to power, regardless of how the audience will react when you do it, but inciting mob justice when she does it? Alright. The fact that people have the ability to generate mob action through the internet is a development worth noting, which brings me to the second subject of this video. In the early days of social media, people behaved on those sites as if they had a kind of privacy which was in fact an illusion. But before long, your parents showed up, the cops showed up, your boss showed up, the CIA, NSA, and every other intelligence agency showed up, and the marketers showed up, and they completely crashed the party. Slowly, and at times for some people very painfully, they learned that what they did online could have serious consequences in the real world. Side note, The Onion has 2 brilliant and hilarious videos about this. Links in the description. To the list that includes your mom and big brother, we should also add mob action, because not only can you be fired for posting pictures of yourself at a party on a day that you had called out sick to work, but you can also become the subject of viral internet drama. The internet creates a social distortion in which molehills become mountains. Now, this event also touched on another intersection of culture and technology in that it might well involve issues of the legal use of photography. Now, cameras in the digital age are essentially ubiquitous, along with the means to publish images. And yet, unless you are a professional or semi-professional photographer, like myself, and have books like these, then you might not be aware that there are already laws which dictate how photography, and specifically photographs of people, can be used. To use them incorrectly might be to tread on the territory of slander, libel, and invasion of privacy. And yet, there is no general awareness, nor is there necessarily any of the old media safeguards. In old media, you traditionally would have things published through newspapers or books, which would have editors and other staff that act as safeguards. Now we live in a world where anyone can take a camera from their cell phone and post it for the entire world to see on the internet without any sort of filter. And yet there still are laws regarding how images of other people are used, and when you can use them and when you can't, and how you can use them. Now, I'm not saying that what happened here in this particular instance involves invasion of privacy, slander, libel, or anything like that. I would leave that decision to a legally trained professional, and yet I'm merely pointing out that this new ubiquity of cameras and the means to publish vastly increases the likelihood of these sorts of misuses of photography. And people should, before they go posting images online, not only think about whether or not you're going to get fired for them, but whether or not you might be invading someone's privacy or committing slander or libel, and just generally educate yourself about the legal uses and misuses of photography. I think that one of the overarching points to be made here is that codes of conduct for online behavior are still developing and in flux. The more points of contact that online events have with real life, the more people modify their behavior as a result, and this illusion of this consensual hallucination of the internet begins to erode. This phenomenon of viral drama seems to happen when news sites, bloggers, and other online celebrities jump into the fray and draw massive attention to what otherwise would have been a minor issue. It's really just simple math. If your audience dwarfs their audience, then the attention that you bring them will be greater than the attention they would have received on their own. In this instance, we see one person attempting to shame 2 people in front of 10,000 people, and then a backlash in which the shamer was shamed by people in front of tens of thousands of more people, and hence viral drama. So not only should we bear in mind that the sense of privacy which we have on social networks is an illusion, but also that what we do online might have real consequences online and off. Oh, brave new world. End transmission.